So that's really wonky, I think, that camera. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is the first video of 2016. So that means it is a brand new year. It is also freezing cold because it is middle of January, and that means I will have so many new videos coming for you on a range of different topics. But yeah, let's get started. So today I'm going to be talking about dealing with change. If you read my blog post last week, you will have seen that I discussed change and how I deal with it and how I felt when we entered into 2016. But yeah, so today I'm dealing with 5 top tips to help you deal with change. So number 1 is change is only as bad as you let it become. Now, my view on change for a long time was that I didn't really enjoy it and I didn't really like the expectance of change, and I was always so nervous about having to change the way things were done, or if things did change I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It felt like my whole world was caving in. But as I've got older and as I've gone through therapy and gone through mind processes, I realised that change is definitely only as bad as you let it become. If you sit there and think, oh my gosh, it's going to be so bad, I'm going to break down, I'm not going to know what to do, then it will be awful, and the period of change in your life will be really, really hard to deal with. But if you look at it from the other hand, it will be tough, but it will be a period of growth rather than a period of grief. Number 2 being, be prepared. Change is one of those things, sometimes you can't anticipate it. So if someone dies or if someone does pass away, you can't anticipate how you're going to feel. And I always think, God forbid, I've grown up with my grandparents, but if one of them did pass away, I can't anticipate how I'm going to feel, and that is something that is different for everyone. But if it's a change you're going to sixth form, or you're going to uni, or you're changing jobs, or you're changing friendship groups, you can be prepared. You can prepare yourself in many different ways to sort of know what to expect. So research into the thing you're doing, if it's a new job, research into what it's going to be like, what's hard about it, and just let yourself be prepared for the changes that will come. So whether it's going to be tougher than the last thing you did, or you're going to have to meet new people, or if you're really anxious, or you might have a panic attack, or you don't cope well in that certain situation, in that environment, then just prepare yourself for it and give yourself a support network and let yourself just be supported in every way that you can in that situation. Which leads me on to number 3, which is accepting change. Accepting change as a coping strategy with dealing with the change. So changes that happen that you feel really anxious about are inevitably changes that you can't do anything about. So whether that's having to move schools, or having to move house, or having to go to uni, changes that you're probably really worried about is nothing that are changes that you can't do anything about. So you really need to try and let yourself accept them. Accepting change will just make things a lot easier. Accepting the fact that things are going to change and things aren't going to be the same forever, and that old period of your life has gone and the new one has come. It's really rewarding to know that you're like, okay, actually, instead of grieving on that old process, and instead of being really nostalgic to the point of being unhealthy about the old things that happened, I'm going to accept it, and I'm going to accept the pros and the cons, and I'm going to move on to this new period of my life, whether that's good or bad, or whether that I'm happy or sad about it. Yeah. So number 4 is allowing time to grieve and heal. If you would have read my blog post, I talked briefly about my friend Joe, who has now moved to South Africa for 6 months. At this time, I think the week leading up to it was really, really hard, because I was like, I don't really want you to go, and I don't want you to move to the other side of the world, and it's going to be really hard, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But I think one of the things that definitely helped me get through that, and now I'm okay with it, is the fact that I allowed myself to be upset. There was no point me sitting there being like, actually, I'm not going to be upset about this. If I pretend it's not happening, it won't happen. And if, I pretend I'm not upset about it, I won't be upset about it. So it should be fine. No, in fact, the week before he left was, like I said, it was really hard. It wasn't like, oh my god, but I was like, I was crying and I was like, oh. But then when we got to the airport, I was fine. Obviously it's a little bit emotional, but I got to the airport and I wasn't a complete state, and now, you know, life goes on, it's back to normal, and you just move on with that. Number 5 is let go of what happened, let go of what's happened and try and move on. Yeah, this one's really, really important. It's kind of like accepting, but letting go is just the best thing you can do. And often that's a process that will take a long time. For some people, you know, it's like a breakup. Like if you've been through a really bad breakup, you might be like, you know, I'm really not ready to let go, because it's really hard to walk away from a situation that you feel could have ended differently. Quite Khloe Kardashian right there. But yeah, I think definitely if you try and let go and you try and move on, ultimately, eventually it will happen, and you won't be living your life in a way that isn't fulfilling and isn't prosperous. If you don't let go and try to move on, you will just end up doing nothing. And I know for me, like when I'm sad, I just like retreat to my bed and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything, I'm so sad. But then after a while, you know, allow yourself to be like that, but then get up, go outside, get some fresh air, see your friends and do life. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I hope you really enjoyed it. Please do tune into my blog next week. I'm not sure what I'll be writing on yet, so that will be a surprise. But do leave future video suggestions in the comments below. Give it a like, share, subscribe if you like it, recommend it to your friends. And yes, I shall see you in 2 weeks' time for a new video. In the meantime, I've linked all my links down below so you can check those out and enjoy those. Bye!